In the mid-1980s, two people and one car captivated fans of the British Rally Championship.
McRae in the Manta.
Right, back left, T right.
The Opel Manta 400s of Jimmy McRae and Russell Brookes were sideways and spectacular everywhere. The Manta was originally destined for the world stage, but by the time it was ready, the Group B era had moved on, with the four-wheel drive and turbocharged power of cars like the Audi Quattro. Nonetheless, the rear-wheel drive Opel still found success on the European and British stages, and the Andrews Heat for Hire and the AC Delco liveries remain famous to this day. And this? Well, this is one of just 245 road cars built to satisfy those FIA Group B homologation regulations. And as if being one of just 245 cars wasn't enough, this car is particularly special. For a start, it looks as you would expect an Opel Manta 400 to look, or at least how I think they should look, because this has the wide arch body kit, these fantastic box arches here, which amazingly only 60 cars of the original run of 245 came out of the factory with. Also, this is just one of 12 to be painted in Astro Silver, all the rest were white. And of course we have the decals here on the doors. 400, incidentally, why is it called the Opel Manta 400? Well, the Ascona that came before, when that was being homologated for Group B, you had to build 400 to satisfy the FIA. By the time this came along, it was only 200, but they kept the 400 name for this, so that's why. The bonnet, frequently you would have the rally intake here because they wanted to make it look more like the rally car. This has the original steel bonnet unmolested. Under the bonnet, we've got the 2.4 litre straight 4 engine, naturally aspirated, putting out about 144 brake horsepower at just over 5,000 RPM. The thing is, this one has still got its fuel injection system. It hasn't been converted to carbs, which is what most people did straight away, because that's how you got up to the sort of, well, nearer the 277 brake horsepower that the rally cars were meant to be putting out. The wheels, 5-spoke, 5-stud versions by Ronald. The body kit, I should have said, is by Ermshire, and you can see that stamped on the inside of the 3-piece rear wing, which is obviously so distinctive on this car as well. But the big thing that makes this car unique is that it's right-hand drive. It was imported into Ireland by Tony Fall, who was the director of motorsports for Opel at the time, and converted because lots of rally cars in Ireland and the UK were right-hand drive as opposed to left-hand drive, because they stayed in Ireland, they didn't go rallying all around the rest of the world. This conversion was done by a proper Vauxhall dealership, and it was inspected in 1986, so in period, and they said it was unrecognisable as being anything aftermarket. It looked like it had come out of the factory like that. So this is a very special car indeed. It's done under 30,000 miles, but we're going to put a few more miles on it today. So let's go for a drive. Got that feeling of, well, I suppose of intimacy that you get with older cars, and I love the extraordinary sort of the all at once really quite tough mechanical feel of the car, the manual gear shift, the hefty steering, and then juxtaposed against these really quite light, flimsy plastics. Don't make them like that anymore. So in here, what marks it out as a 400, well, we've got the Opel Sport steering wheel here, which is a lovely size. It's got these little raised nodules on the back as well, just to help you grip the wheel. They don't go all the way around, just where you want to hold it, right here. And then these Recaro seats with the Opel Blitz logo repeated on them, which look fabulous and actually holds you pretty well, particularly around the thighs here. It's a very narrow sort of chair bit, which is fantastic. The suspension does feel pretty firm. We've got double wishbones at the front, then we've got a panhard rods, 4-link live axle at the rear. We've got a limited slip diff, ZF limited slip diff. Gearbox, it's a 5-speed Getrag gearbox, direct in 4th, overdrive 5th, final drive 3.18 to 1. It's geared for 130 miles an hour, and a curious thing, that's actually what the Speedo goes round to as well. You wouldn't get that nowadays, would you? We've got the optional Ermshire exhaust on this car. Ermshire being the company that made the arches as well. And it does sound really good. You just get so many different sounds and notes to it. The character changes from when you started up and there's a sort of mechanical flatulence to it, to then a rortiness, and then there's a feeling that there is quite a large amount of sort of sweat volume per cylinder in this car. And then a definite sort of motorsport edge as it hardens as well. As I said before, it's 144 brake horsepower in this standard trim, but 155 pounds-foot of torque, which is actually quite a lot when you've only got 1,128 kilos, albeit dry weight, to push along. It's an engine which really, it picks up at about 3,600 RPM. It suddenly just kicks and really starts to get into its stride. I've wanted to drive one of these for an awfully long time, and it's the sort of car, it feels quite, I suppose how it looks in a way, it feels like it's got quite a long wheelbase. It feels obviously demonstrably rear-wheel drive. To be honest, I just want to get one onto gravel. It feels like it'd be absolutely perfect. Through the corners, feel it lean fairly quickly onto its springs. One thing I would do, this has got actually pretty new tyres on it. I always feel like with these older cars, I'd almost want to put them onto some, I don't know, Nankangs or something with minimal grip, just to mimic what it would be like back in the day. It is lovely as well, having a cable operated throttle. I know that in terms of response, I'm sure modern throttles are even better, but the sense of connection that you get to the engine with a cable operated throttle is so lovely to have. What an absolute privilege to drive this example. It still feels really tight actually, as you'd expect for only just over 29,000 miles. It doesn't feel in the least bit baggy. To have a sunny day in the south of England with this iconic car was just wonderful. Those box arches have to be some of the best I've ever seen. If it were mine, then I'd find it very hard to resist fitting a set of Delautos to unlock even more power, but I admire the restraint that has left us in completely standard trim. Perhaps inevitably, what this wonderful road car left me longing for at the end of the day was a drive through a forest in a full-on stage-ready rally version. One day, maybe.